Comics Plus, what's going on? Akasan here, still trying to get my. It's like I'm stepping on my cape back here. There you go. Akasan knows what's up. We're streaming live here on Twitch. You know what the deal is. Just trying to do the damn thing. We're here to talk about the video game, the Game Awards. The nominees have come out here. And, well, there's a lot of stuff going on here for Best Direction, Best Narrative, the games for Impact, Best Action, Best Role-Playing, blah, 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 blah. You guys don't want to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about Game of the Year. Let's go. So, as we can see here with Game of the Year, let's get into the shitstorm of opinions here. Game of the Year, we have Animal Crossing's New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. Game of the Year.
I'm Robert Pattinson, asshole.
Woo!
I don't do that. Screw you.
There you go. That was the wrong button. I didn't mean to push that one.
Screw you.
Stop, John Campia. All right. Oh boy. There is a lot to digest on this one. First and foremost, I do wonder what the criteria is for to get Game of the Year. Are we just going by sales? Are we going by controversy? Because I'll be honest, I've never even heard of Hades. I don't even know what Hades is. It looks cool, but I've never heard of it. But the other games I've played, actually, at least a bit. So I'm not here to tell you guys how to vote. That's up to you. But I'll give you my opinion on each game and what I thought about it. All right. So let's go through this. So journalists have 90% of the vote and audience have 10%, by the way. And good. I hope so. Because I don't want a bunch of bots and a bunch of people upset over The Last of Us sort of skewering the votes like that. But anyways, going back to what I'm talking about here. Animal Crossing, New Horizon. I still play it every once in a while. It was a great game during the pandemic. I don't know if it should really be up there as Game of the Year, though. Even nominated. I don't know. Maybe, because you got to remember, Game of the Year, this year, 2020, Animal Crossing probably saved lives during this pandemic. Animal Crossing literally forced Nintendo, the Switch, to sell out everywhere. It caused the GDP to actually go up in Japan. I'm sure it had to do. The Switch selling out, the PlayStation coming out, Uniqlo, a lot of Demon Slayer, a lot of this like Japanese exclusive stuff probably did a number, and I'm sure Animal Crossing was the main reason the Nintendo Switches started selling out everywhere like hotcakes during the pandemic. So thank you, Corona-chan, for making Animal Crossing a Game of the Year nominee. That being said, I haven't picked up Animal Crossing for like 2 to 3 months now. So that's something to say. But to be fair, let's move on to Doom Eternal. So I played Doom Eternal a bit because I really wanted a game for me to just chill and relax. That was not the case with Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal for me was one of the most frustrating games. Just trying to get past this particular... I don't know if it's because I just wasn't in the mood at the time, or it was actually kind of difficult. I was kind of surprised about that. it was actually kind of difficult. It wasn't very relaxing. It was actually getting me kind of intense a good amount of the time. So I stopped playing. I haven't played it since. Personally, I don't understand why it's like $80 or $80 to $100 this particular game, but obviously it does have the accolades and the high reviews, and that's one of the reasons I bought it, is because almost everybody, I haven't found one person that said that the game was bad. People love this game, and I thought I was gonna love it, and I did not, unfortunately. Maybe I need to try it again on a different setting, or just when I'm a little more relaxed or whatever. But for me, Doom Eternal, I can see why, though. It was very highly rated. Speaking of highly rated, woo! Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Whew, what can I say about this game? We've waited so long for this game to come out. And it came out. The game finally came out. I have mixed feelings, very mixed feelings about this game. As you can even see, I mean, this inspired me when I got my new setup and everything. You can see right here, like, I'm rocking Tifa full screen. She's on every screen here. There's really, really good points about this game, but at the same time, as someone who's never played the original, I don't really know how I can really grade this, because I thought it was a little like the pacing was just kind of weird. And it, like, the early part of the game, the story worked really well, but then towards the second half of the story, you're just like, what's going on? Like, I felt like there was like something, a key point really missing for it. And I don't really know if Final Fantasy was for new fans or for old, or if they were trying to go for both and they didn't really hit it for either way. Either way, I didn't really like the idea that this story isn't one and done, and the fact that they're breaking it up into 2 to 3 parts, right? What I did like about this game, I've already said it, Tifa. Like, I played it once, and that was enough for me. That was kind of enough for me. It's not something for me, but I'm not somebody that replays games a lot. So for me, playing this game and getting to play Tifa, which for me was the best person in the game, as part of my squad, in the fact that it's an RPG, but she plays like an action adventure type of game. I thought that was great. So I really like that style. I still encourage Square Enix to keep making games like this. I would love to see a fusion between kind of the pervertedness of or the that Tecmo does, but the seriousness of a Square game, but a simpler story, I guess. It's a very interesting thing how Final Fantasy VII, but overall I enjoyed it, but I definitely would not vote it as Game of the Year. Because especially in the fact that the story never ended, and the ending of this version of the remake left a weird taste in my mouth, because it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's the way you want to end this chapter, on a like kind of a conclusion, but not really. But now I gotta wait 2 or 3 more years for this. I don't like that. I like the idea. For me, and this is again me coming as somebody like really as a fresh face to Final Fantasy VII, even though I love Advent Children. And there was something else I wanted to mention, but Kingdom Hearts or whatever. As a fresh face to this, you know, the story, the way they ended it, the way the game ended, doesn't really lead me that hyped to want to continue, unless there's something really dramatic, because it was more or less confusing. I was just like, okay, whatever. If this had been the first time we've ever seen the Final Fantasy game, a 7 storyline, I don't know if it would have worked. So, Continuing on. Ghost of Tsushima. This is probably the most hyped game I've ever seen. And it has a lot, personally, I believe it has a lot to do with the latter half of these nominees here. Looking at you, Ellie. After The Last of Us 2 came out, and whatever your feelings are, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but wherever your feelings are about that, I noticed a lot of people hyping the shit out of Ghost of Tsushima like crazy. They were acting like Ghost of Tsushima was going to be is gonna blow Sony out the water. Like, it was gonna make so much for PlayStation, and like this was the next best thing. It was revolutionizing games. No. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the game, but this was nothing new. This was nothing new at all. It looked like the one thing you guys can quote me. I've said many time before. Ghost of Tsushima for me was beautifully boring. Beautifully boring. I liked playing the game. It was all right on a PlayStation Pro. I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. Certain points were good, but you know, a good example is look at Cyberpunk. Look at the way Cyberpunk looks. Look at. You could even argue Spider-Man, Miles Morales on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Pro. It's okay. It's okay. Ghost of Tsushima is okay. Some scenes look really good, and yes, flowers moving around. Ooh. But for me, it wasn't enough to really carry the rest of the game, because the plot in itself was pretty damn boring. Every time you would go to a different type of village or something to do a little mission, I'm like, okay, it's pretty much the same thing each time. Each boss battle was pretty much the same thing. And again, traversing and traveling is fun, but I've seen it before in other games. That's particularly my opinion on this. Riding on a horse, we did it in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It looks really good when you're doing it. I thought it was all right. And I'm not even going to get into the whole westernized version of a Japanese storyline. There's a lot of inaccuracies going on within the game, but I know most people don't care about that. Japanese people, however, you know, there's some issues to take place in that. But I like it. I am very curious to see how it's going to be looking on PlayStation 5 when it comes out on that side. But I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Now, what I will say is Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer is exactly what I wanted from the main game. If you get a chance to play the bonus material, that is actually really damn cool. But you know, we have also pointed out is the fantasy elements of Ghost of Tsushima maybe would have been a little too close to Sekiro or whatever the game was that came out last year. Yeah. But like I said, it was all right. It was all right, but it was nothing to really write home about. I definitely saw better performances in The Last of Us 2, facial expressions, things like that. But it was all right. It was all right. Hades, I honestly can't comment on because I just found out about it today. So is that a Nintendo Switch game or what? Finally. Let's get to the top one here. Let's get to the main event. Okay, so The Last of Us 2. Woohoo! The game that nobody has a problem with. And I'm going to say it. When thinking about it all, this game should win Game of the Year. Woo! Let me explain to you why. Let me in Akasan's world, okay? In Akasan's world, let me just explain something. Look, yeah, you guys are blowing up already. In Akasan's world, I just broke down to you my experience with every game. It was enjoyable, but it's not that memorable, right? You're going to forget about it, right? The Last of Us 2, I think, achieved what other game developers strive for, is such an importance and such a fanatical controversy that you cannot deny that this game is turning heads, and not necessarily in a bad way. The fact that you can sit here and still have a conversation about the directions that the story took, you know, even directors, even movie studios wish they had as such attention as The Last of Us 2 story did. And you can argue that, oh, it didn't have a story. Well, maybe it didn't have a story for you. But it certainly had enough people writing essays and expositions and reports and YouTube videos up in arms about certain things that happen in this game, that it's an emotional journey for many people. And I think that can't be overlooked. It may not have been, the outcome of the game may not have been what you wanted it to be, but you can't deny that it really had an effect on a lot of people. And like Negan is saying, it made you feel. And you can't really say that about other games. I mean, if you, and in this particular category, at least in my opinion, I saw some people crying over Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know. I don't know why. And maybe some people. Yeah, actually, I saw some people crying over. I saw Toph crying over Animal Crossing, but Last of Tsushima. I mean, The Last of Us did something that I think no other game has done in a very, very long time. You lose people, and you lost people in the game, and when you lost people, you felt it. And for me, I hated every moment of that world that was created in The Last of Us. It made me so tense and so nervous because I didn't want to lose a part of myself in that world. That's an achievement. And I'm not even going to get into the fact that ever since I played The Last of Us 2, I've been comparing other games in terms of facial structure, capturing the emotion. Like, you forget that it's a game sometimes, whereas I'm looking at Miles Morales on PS5 and I'm like, why are the faces not why is the emotion not as good anymore, right? The last time I saw something that good was God of War, honestly, on PlayStation 4. So I think regardless of what you felt about the story, I think this is The Last of Us 2 was the achieving point in the PlayStation 4's history, in the PlayStation 4's lifespan. Ghost of Tsushima may look really pretty with the contrast turned way the hell up, but Seattle wasn't supposed to look like that in The Last of Us. I felt like this worked really well. So that's my take on it. Man, that's my, not everybody's going to agree on it, but personally for me, I think if The Last of Us 2 doesn't win Game of the Year, it would be a travesty to game developers out there that are trying to break those bounds. If you want to go with something that's just kind of run-of-the-mill type of deal, again, I haven't played Hades. I don't know what Hades is all about. But if you want to go with stuff that's just kind of remaking, or rehashing the same sort of stuff over and over again, then go ahead and vote for the other stuff, the other things. But I felt like at least what The Last of Us is doing, and especially by winning Game of the Year, it encourages other developers and it encourages other companies like Sony or Santa Monica Studios or whatever to go out there and keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing the like cinematic, where cinema meets video game play, and helps us push video game stories to the next level, like Uncharted, ironically, same studio, you know? Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, Detroit Becoming Human. Those games, that's where I want to see video games. I don't want to get the same thing. Again, Ghost of Tsushima, really great, but I'd rather play Horizon Zero Dawn or Assassin's Creed more and more like that. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Red Dreaded Nation, stand up, speak up. Let me know what you guys think about this. My name is Akasan. Just remember, it's just my opinion on the way the way I played these games and what I liked out of it. They all had different merits to them, but ultimately for me, the most memorable one was The Last of Us 2. Let me know.